I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Uh,
all nervous, but it's okay.
yeah, no, there's nothing to be nervous about. I was uh I was like in the middle of trying to set up my camera, and I don't know if this ever happens to you. Maybe it's just I'm clumsy, but every like as soon as I try to fix something, like I'll hit something else, I'll fall down, then I'll try to pick that up, something else will fall down. It was literally like a comedy skit right before I got on. So, but I think I got everything settled, so we're in good shape.
Good, good. I'm glad.
Cool.
That
So
definitely happens to me a lot. I'm very clumsy and I'm like, oh, Jesus.
I think it comes with like the territory being like muscular too. Like I think if you're like kind of put develop your frame like bigger than what it would naturally just like normally be, sometimes you just run into things. It just happens.
Yes, for sure.
So I guess we can start off like with so originally where are you from? Are you in Texas?
Yes, so I'm from, sorry, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm
Mhm.
from
Yeah, go ahead.
El Paso, Texas. So I moved around a lot, or I guess not a lot, but when I was younger, we would move. I moved to Utah,
Hmm.
um, Fort Worth, Dallas area, and then
Yeah.
but we always ended up back in El Paso, only because that's where like all my family is.
Hmm.
And right now I'm in San Antonio, so that's where I prefer to be staying at the moment. I moved here last September.
Okay.
I was out in Austin, so sorry, I'm like going back and forth.
No, you're fine. You're
Originally
good.
from El Paso, and then moved to San Antonio from 2011 to 2015 to get my undergrad degree here in San Antonio at St. Mary's. And then once I graduated, a year went by, got accepted to physical therapy school.
Hmm.
And then that's when I moved to Austin.
I
And
got you.
then last September, that's when I was like, well, physical therapy school didn't go as planned.
Hmm.
Um, and so I just woke up one Tuesday and was like, you know what? I'm moving to San
Moving back.
Antonio. I need something like new. I
Yeah.
was very lost in Austin, I could say. I just felt since the goals that I had set for myself weren't didn't plan out how I wanted it to go,
Mm.
because life, just throw some curveballs.
Gotcha.
Um, I just, woke up and I was like, I'm felt depressed and not wanting to like really do much. So I was like, I'm just gonna move to San Antonio
Hmm.
where it's more familiar. I have some family and friends here.
Yeah.
Did not want to move back to El Paso. I don't know if I'll ever move back to El Paso, but yeah, we'll see.
Did so like my wife and I went to San Antonio a little while back. It was before the whole pandemic thing started, and for a wedding, and it was we really loved it. Like San Antonio was great. Like I've
Yeah.
never been to Texas outside of that time, and from what I saw, like it was awesome. Like San Antonio was incredible. Now, I know Texas is a big place. There's a lot of different cities, but as far as San Antonio is concerned, it was beautiful. Like I mean, weather was great at that time. Like when we went, can't remember exactly what month it was, but it wasn't like hot or cold. It was just perfect. And
Okay.
so we went to, and I can't remember Waco, like where the massacre there in Waco was. So
Okay.
we saw the memorial there, and then we went to. Do you know who Chip and Joanna are? Like they do like the remodeling, like the houses and stuff like that. They have a show on. They have a big thing
Oh,
in close by there, like where they have like almost like a small city in that in. It is. I think it is in Waco. So it was just interesting. Like it was an interesting trip, but like we really enjoyed it. So I can definitely see
definitely. Yeah.
why you like San Antonio.
It's grown a lot, to be honest,
Hmm.
from when I moved first initially moved out here. And I mean, I would visit a lot when I was younger because I have family,
Yeah.
how I said, but it's grown a lot. Even like all the surrounding cities around like San Antonio have grown a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you've been to Austin recently, I don't know, but
Mm-mm.
they've extremely just like
Oh,
grown.
really? Blown? Yeah,
Yeah.
blown up.
I
Yeah.
believe like Apple and um I think like Apple or Amazon also like moved out there
Yeah.
and like opened up corporations. So
It's crazy how fast that can happen, like how fast the city can grow. Because like so originally I'm from Russia, and when I moved here like some years ago, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Like I saw, like I've seen how Nashville has like grown from this moderate city to like this huge like city, like with, I mean, we're always building, like there's, everything. I mean, it's really grown to like the status of like, or comparable to like other big cities in other, other parts of
yeah,
the country. So I mean, yeah, it can happen very fast. Like before you know it, it's like all of a sudden. And I don't know if I'm like in favor or not, because there's pros and cons, that come with it. A lot of traffic definitely comes with that. So
traffic and living costs. I mean,
sure,
food, like
yeah.
everything just it rises,
Mm.
especially with rent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's the same situation here. Yeah, like now it's very difficult to find affordable like housing in Nashville unless you just got a like great paying job, which, I mean, what's the percentage of people that have that? So,
Yeah.
um, so I'm assuming you're Hispanic, like, background.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I'm Hispanic. So my family, um, obviously like came from like Juarez, Chihuahua. I
Hmm.
do have some family came over from Spain,
Okay.
but oh, there it is. Sorry, I was like looking for something all
You're fine.
morning and I just like saw it. I was like, oh,
No, that's a good
um,
sign. You felt like
yes,
we
it
got on
is.
the show. You found what you were looking for.
And so I had lost my nose ring. That's why, and I just found it.
Oh,
It was like so tiny, and I was like, oh.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'm Hispanic and grew up very traditional Catholic uh, ways, I
Hmm.
guess you can
Yeah.
say.
So, with that being said, and kind of getting your background, how did you get into fitness? Was this something that you've kind of always done throughout your, life and your schooling and all that, or is this something you picked up later on?
Um, it's a mixture of both, I guess you can say. So
Hmm.
when I was younger, I've always been active. I mean, I was in competitive cheer, I did soccer, I would do volleyball. I was just like all over the place. I was very fortunate for my parents to be able to drive me like everywhere I needed to be and everywhere I needed to go because I have four siblings, so plus myself, it's five. So there was a lot of back and forth and like my parents. I remember like my parents would like drive past each other and we all just like wave because we're all going like practice or something. But
That's funny.
I've always been active, and then I got into bodybuilding. I've always loved muscle, but getting into bodybuilding was when I was an undergrad. The boyfriend that I was with at the time, he was a football player in high school. So he was still like keeping up with like the gym
Hmm.
and doing like, we both did like intramurals. I was in a sorority, he was in a fraternity. Um, so he got me more into like lifting into
Hmm.
weights outside of sports, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so that's when I kind of started to like l- know about bodybuilding. It wasn't until 2015 when I graduated and moved back to El Paso. That's when I started actually like getting more into the gym.
Hmm.
But I'm not the greatest bodybuilder out there. I'm going to say I'm still like I bodybuilded, but I wasn't doing it like properly. It was just like kind of like I was taking the information that people were telling me,
Hmm.
like the bro gym tips, I guess. But
Right. Right.
how I said, feel like my background is in kinesiology, so sports
Hmm.
med. And yeah, like I want to put like the science into it. So I'm just barely getting like into that right now.
Right. Well, I mean, you did say that you only started really getting into it 2018. Well, right. Well, is that what you just said? 2018.
My first show was, well, like actually getting into it, I guess you can say like 20 2018, 2019.
Right. So, you're talking about only training for like fully, I guess, like you said, getting into, for a few years. It's only
Yeah.
2020. So we can only expect you to be like, it takes time. Like it's a work of progression, because I was very similar, like in how I started off too. Did sports, just like most people, and then just kind of got older. So like sports kind of fell off, because at a certain point, unless you're like at the elite level of athletics, you just don't do it anymore, and so then I just started, lifting for myself and whatnot, and that's how it was. You just kind of pick up tips here and there. You read magazines, you do this. Some things you think are right that aren't. You find out later, So
Yeah.
something is just not true,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that, and so you started like getting into it. You said your first competition was when?
So my first competition was 2016. So like, yeah, I was like into it, but I wasn't
I see. Okay.
into it where like I knew, I guess like after my first show and then moving out to Austin, like I kind of grew more love for the sport. And then I also did powerlifting. So
Okay.
I was kind of like going back and forth.
Mhm.
Um,
How,
Trying to
how,
do them in school was probably the worst idea I did, because that was the reasoning kind of why PT school didn't go well, with other factors. But yeah, like getting into it and like trying to actually do like proper technique and stuff was probably like 2018
mm.
ish.
So you said, why didn't school go well? I didn't catch that, what you just said.
So so many factors like play into
Okay.
it. One for sure. So I, how do I explain it? So
So like, I mean, I guess just if there's, so obviously there's like, seems like there's a variety of things, but like, are there
yeah.
any like big ones that stand out that?
The main, I guess like the two big ones was, or the three big ones was that like I love school and I love to
Mhm.
learn and stuff, but I wasn't mentally mature yet.
I
I
see.
still struggled with believing in myself and having the confidence to succeed
Hmm.
in school and to do well. Like it was for me, I had to work really hard just to get into physical therapy school.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't have the grades nor GPA, but I did bust my ass,
Hmm.
and did like a lot of volunteer hours,
Right.
overshadowing everything. But to actually maintain like the grades for school, I struggled. And then boy stuff,
Hmm.
goodness gracious,
That's always going to be a problem. That's.
it was so bad, but it was a very good and well learning experience for me.
Hmm. Gotcha.
Even though I didn't succeed in it, it was a great learning experience for me because I think it did help me learn a lot about myself, and the
Hmm.
willingness to just grow in general
Yeah.
has helped me to expand my mentality and control my emotions in a better way.
Hmm. So yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, as far as like not being mentally mature. My wife has recently endeavored into nursing, and so she's going into nursing school. And like, there's always like topics that come up, because I was thinking about it too for a time. And like, could you should have done it when you were younger, like right out of high school or whatever. And like, my thinking always on it is, I don't think I would have done well, or my wife wouldn't have done well, if we did it right out of high school, because I don't think we were like mentally mature enough to it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Like I could have pushed, but like I wouldn't, or she wouldn't have the desire like we do like now, 'cause when you're a little bit older. So it's
Yeah.
different.
It's kind of like, well, for me, I don't know how it was for you guys, but like I said, I grew up in a very cultural Hispanic Catholic
Hmm.
way that like you kind of have like your path paved for you.
Hmm.
And then like the consistency of like, okay, so like after high school, like you need to go to college. And after college, it's either you get a really, really good job,
Hmm.
or you go um to grad school to become like something like more in life, like
Right,
a
right.
doctor, a lawyer, or like whatever.
Sure.
So that's what like my siblings and I are doing. But um, for two of them, for two of my siblings, my sister's a nurse, and my little brother right now
Mm.
is going to Texas State for law school,
Mhm.
or no, not Texas State, Texas Tech. That's in Lubbock,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
for
it
law
is
school.
another.
Like,
That's,
wait, which one?
that's funny.
And then I have one brother who tried college, and he didn't like enjoy it, so he got out. My other brother works for Yelp, and then for myself, like I said, I was just like, I knew I liked school, but I was like, when people push me to do something that I
Right.
don't want to do, so like physical therapy, I thought I wanted to do because I was like, oh, like I had the mentality like, okay, like it's going to have me like financially stable. I'm going to be
Mhm.
helping people. It's like within like rehabilitation, the medical field. My parents are going to be proud. I'm going to be like the doctor. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be that. So I had like all these immature thoughts
Mhm.
to get me into like the reasoning why I wanted to do physical therapy school, but it wasn't necessarily the reasoning for myself. So I
Right.
think that's why I also like struggled with it, because I was kind of just like going through the motion. And although I love learning the information, I think if
Mhm.
I just would have waited and maybe just done like some basics out of
Mhm.
college or something, or out of high school, or just actually taken the time to figure out what it was that I wanted to do and pursue,
Right.
I wouldn't be in I wouldn't be 28 trying to figure out what I want to pursue right now at this moment,
Right.
because I still get like, well, you're 20. I get from family like, oh, you're 28. You should already be like on the roll, like
Mhm. Mhm.
stable. Like you should have this. You should have that. And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm 28, but like I'm struggling, but I'm happy.
Mhm.
Like I'm okay because I'm I'm okay where I'm at.
Right.
But if I were to gone back to school right now, then I'd be like
Mhm.
golden, I think, because how I said, I feel like I've grown and been better like at
Right.
accepting my emotions and not letting things control me.
Sure. No, I mean, I get that. A lot of culturally, a lot of people are like that as far as like going higher education. And I do believe a big part of that is because during, our parents and our grandparents' time, higher education meant more. But now I don't think it nearly means as much. Like just for example, I got my bachelor's in business. I then went and got my master's, and it literally helped me almost in no way to find a job. I still found a job like everybody else who would have just got out of high school. So it's a crapshoot. It's not 100% like people make it out to be. And again, I do believe partially your parents feel like that's the road to travel because that was the road to travel when they were going through it. It's places, same things like nursing and is more of a trade, which is helpful. In what you were going through, but like these general topics, like I did, like business. I mean, it was almost useless. So and now look at where the world is now. People are losing their jobs left and right. This
Yeah.
unemployment is higher than ever. By the way, how has the pandemic affected you as far as like just life, but also training and everything like that?
So when it first happened, it was a bit of a struggle. So I was working at State Farm for a while. Um, Not the job I wanted, but it was a
Mhm.
job.
Right.
So I was working there, and then when the pandemic hit, I was kind of like, you know what, like, we got, I guess, yeah, we did like kind of get let go. And I had the opportunity to come back, but like I said, I really didn't like working there, so I was like, you know what, like, I'm not gonna go back. Just do this. I ended up working at the gym that I train at, which is the Muscle Factory. So started working there. So I was still able to lift, but for the whiles that like the gyms and stuff were closed, I had to drive like 45 minutes to one of like our friends. Like he had like a Gary, the South Side. Or I don't. Oh wait, sorry, you're not from
Yeah,
here.
I'm not, but I'll nod and say yes, like I do, like I do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, like one of my powerlifting coach Gary has his own gym, so I would drive like 45 minutes out and then 45 minutes just to come back just to train.
That's
And it was
dedication. Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like that's when I was doing powerlifting because I was gonna
Mhm.
do a powerlifting meet in August and then my national show in November.
Mhm.
But um money wise and everything, like it affected me, but it also helped drive me to figure out what it was that I wanted to pursue to help me um, with my financial like gain and stuff.
Sure. It
So
kind of forced you to reevaluate maybe.
yeah, it did, and I'm
Mhm.
actually glad that it did. I am subbing now. I
Okay.
love kids. I love
Awesome.
for me children are the foundation of life. Basically,
Hmm.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
So you need to, I guess, like with the way I had a great childhood. I
Hmm.
mean, there was times where it was pretty bad, but more or less, like I still had a good childhood because my
Right.
parents did what they had to do. Like
Hmm.
I've learned to accept like things happen, and they're teaching us through what they were learned and how they think we should be,
Hmm.
I guess, brought up. So for me, I kind of want to help children and like let them and like help them with school and everything because I know I struggled with school.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm subbing, but the kids that I'm with are kids who are on the spectrum,
Okay.
special needs, and those with learning disabilities because I've struggled, how I said, like since I kind of struggled with school, I have patience. So
Hmm.
I'm able to have the patience that I have with myself and put it towards them.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's incredible because especially like dealing with children that are, have those kind of complications. It's not, you can't, it's hard to even imagine like what their day in, day out life is like. We can have like a kind of understanding, but you really don't know unless you're in their shoes. And it's nice that there's people like you out there that are willing to put them their own time and effort and to be able to help these children because I guarantee you there's not a lot of that going on. Like in theory there is, but in reality I'm sure these children often feel left out. So
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
easy.
for sure, for sure with the pandemic going on,
Hmm.
it's affected a lot of students. Like
Yeah.
just with the few schools that I've gone to, um, I mean, we've had teachers like retire early,
Yeah.
teachers like who are pregnant like didn't come back. So they're not only are they low on faculty right now,
Yeah.
but they're also low on subs. And so what they did is they combined uh, classes. So
Mm.
you have these kids who I don't like to label them, but um, you have these mixture of kids. So it's really hard for a single teacher to help each of these students out.
Right. I got you.
So
I know where
um,
you're coming from. Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody's different. Everybody needs a kind of um their own like way to approach them, and it's hard when there's like you have a mixture of children that require different things, so but that excuse me.
it's
But
okay.
yeah, I'm like
All over the place. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. So like getting back to the fitness aspect of your life. So when did you actually turn pro?
I turned pro last November in 2020
At what
uh,
show?
at the NPC National Championship in
Okay.
Orlando. It was the
And
one it was supposed to be in Miami, but they moved
yes, I
to
remember. Yeah, I remember. So I did see it on your page, and it was a picture of you in three different divisions. It was like because initially when I looked at you, I
yeah.
thought you were a figure, but then I saw some posts where you were like posing like a women's physique pose. So then
Yeah.
I saw another picture where you got three different trophies in three different divisions. So like, what did you turn pro in, and like how like what is going on there? Like, are you planning to compete in several different divisions in one?
Um, that would be. amazing to do that. So yes, so 2019 so November 2019 was the picture that you saw.
Hmm.
So for that show, it was in Arlington. Um, I competed in, so it was fitness. And then right after fitness, I got back on stage for figure. And then literally right after figure, I got back on stage for physique. So I did
Hmm.
fitness, figure, and physique. I love all three categories.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I did get my pro card in figure because that's what my first show was figure. And so that's something that I wanted to, you
Hmm.
know, my goal was to get my pro card in figures. So now that I have that, we are building myself up still with that figure athletic look because I still have a lot of growing to do.
Hmm.
Um, but we are thinking about moving into fitness since I do have my competitive cheer and gymnastics background.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's interesting. So a while back, a couple of years ago, I had Missy Trescon on, and I'm actually going to have her on Tuesday, I believe, for like talk about her win, which was a big deal. And s- back then when we were talking, she's done a couple of figure competitions, and what she was saying was that she's kind of thinking, there's going to be probably a time, if I remember her words correctly, there's probably going to be a time where she's not going to be able to, jump around and move like that. So fitness and figure physiques are, comparable. Like they're
Yeah.
fairly comparable. But physique division is looking real different, from those. So it is going to be interesting. Like well, first of all, it's amazing that you were able to place in all three of those. But on the pro stage, I would think it would be tough to do anything. Like you could do fitness and figure, but to try to do physique, I don't think I mean, it's not
Yeah,
impossible, but it's hard. It would be hard.
that'll be like a lot more. Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, because you would
But
have,
right,
'cause you would have
yeah.
to gain, and then like you probably couldn't do it all on the same show. Like, well, I don't think they even let you
Oh, I
really.
don't think I would want to. When I did those three divisions for that one show, and that's that it was just a local show.
Right, right. It's a
Like
little
here in Texas,
different.
like yeah, it was still hectic. Like I said, like I got there, they're like, "Oh, aren't you our fitness girl?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not going on till later." They're like, "Oh, we changed the schedule. You're supposed to be on now." So I was like, "Oh my god." So I
Okay.
literally, like I said, was back to back on stage. I did not get to like have a pump. I guess like
Hmm.
my pump was from me
From
tumbling
from
everywhere.
before, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to like warm up, but um I think like naturally with the adrenaline and then I mean, like I said, like I did competitive cheer. I've cheered
Hmm.
all my life and did like tumbling and everything.
Right.
So I didn't like need to warm up, but I don't think I'd ever would put myself back in that stressful situation because
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I
it was
don't.
it
I
was
don't.
too hard.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that have placed in all three in one show, even in a local show. Like that really doesn't happen. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to do it again, but it's pretty cool to have done it once.
Yeah, that you know what, you're right. Cause I'm very competitive. I hate it. Like I'm always like trying to stay humble and like but like deep down, I'm like, Gah! Like I am so competitive,
Yeah.
but I am better. I don't like when I was mad. Oh my gosh, when I would lose when I was younger.
Mm.
I'm not joking. I would punch like bathroom stalls. I'd be like, ah!
Yeah, I've been with a few. I mean, it's funny. I think a lot of that does come from like just being young. It's like there's so much pressure on like when I was competing at a younger age, like high school and a little bit later, like it's you get just so like focused on winning, and when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, it's such a devastating thing.
Yeah.
As you get older, you become more like you control your emotions better. So, but still hurts though.
Yes. I think for me, because like I kind of knew I'm and I always said this, like I always like tell my family and stuff like my siblings are more, I guess like book smart, and I'm always like, I'm just the one who's like the talented. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I'm more talented compared to my siblings. So like school didn't come easy. I just, like I said, like busted my ass with it.
Mm-hmm.
So to get where I needed to be. But when it came to like singing, dancing, like I did jazz, I did the
Yeah.
jazz dancing,
Just a
like
lot of
all other
raw
different
talent.
stuff that
Yeah.
if like my goals were more like for my sports and my talents.
Right. Right.
And then so whenever I wouldn't like, I would set my goal and I succeed, I get mad. And yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
get, and I think I posted like I'd get kicked out of like practice. I think it was yesterday. Like I was just like, I was terrible. I was really
I'm
bad.
glad you're doing better. That's
I know, me too. I'm like approachable now. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
guys, hi.
Yeah. It's like people aren't afraid of you anymore.
Yes.
Not as
Well,
much at least.
yeah, true. Not as much. Not as much.
Okay. So, so you know, you got your pro card. You're developing your physique to be, and what you said is, I believe, fitness, right? Is what you're looking at, or are you going to do both, figure and
I
fitness?
think, well, because for fitness, you still do like the figure posing.
Right, right.
So, as of right now, I mean, we're thinking about fitness.
Mhm,
So I'm going to like start getting back into gymnastics and stuff so I can like regain tumbling and
mhm.
my balance. But as of right now, I think we're just going to stick to mostly figure and then we'll see where I'm at the time.
From like a tumbling standpoint. Yeah.
Yes.
And so what are you thinking as far as like timeline? Are you thinking you can compete in 21? Are you um if you are, what would you do?
I think I'll compete in 2022 because I
Hmm.
know for my coach, John Jewett, he told me that uh, he'd probably give me about like 8 to 12 months for my improvement
Hmm.
season. Um, so that's basically like a year. So, and I personally, I wouldn't want to compete this year only because I feel like I do need to bring a lot more focus and emphasis, not just within like bodybuilding and building my body how I need to build it, but more
Hmm.
I want to put focus like on other things that like I want to try to kind of kick kick into gear and get going,
Hmm.
which is
Gotcha.
being more with the subbing,
Mhm.
doing that a little bit more. And then I just want to be more vulnerable. I've gone through a lot, or so what I think I've gone through a lot. And so I want to be more vulnerable and like let people know like my story and let them know that like it's okay. Um,
Mhm.
everybody always says it's okay to not be okay, but like just that it's okay to pave your own path. Like you don't have to go through what society or what everybody else makes you think like you need to go through,
Yeah.
just to become successful, just to make sure that you're loved, just to like this. Like, no, I really want to be more vulnerable and help people like
Mhm.
better better understand like themselves
Mm.
from my perspective,
Yeah.
like in a way.
It's interesting that you said that about being successful. Like it is like, you know, the question is like, what is success, right? Like, well, what is being successful? Is it having more money than everybody else? Is it having a stable job? You know, is it having good relationships with people and good family? You know, I tend to err on the third one. But it's kind of like, excuse me, but
Sometimes you have to.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, what is success? And I do think that like people have a strange or skewed, I should say, view of what success is. Partially, largely probably because of the way our society is, right? Like, I mean, you look at Instagram, you look at anything else, people are always flashing money, you know, whether it's money in cars that they don't actually own or whether it is, you know, whatever the case may be. It's
Yeah.
like that is the view that of what success is, you know.
Yeah. And for me, for my success was getting my pro card. Like that is something that I've always wanted for myself was getting my pro card no matter what.
Right.
So that, and then also just I've I've chased money, I've chased love, I've chased many things that I thought would give me that sense of security and like I said, like success, but
Hmm.
all it did was kind of basically destroy me and my relationships that I had already.
Yeah.
So for me, success is more inner peace and just being happy.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah,
Being
that's basically it.
content, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. I read something, not read, but I think it was a quote. It said, if it disturbs your peace, it's too rich. No, it's too expensive. If
Mm,
it disturbs your peace, it's too expensive. And I was
that's a
like, you
good
know what?
quote.
That's true. Like, if it's truly putting so much stress and like all this other stuff like on you, like, is it really like worth it?
Worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, it's like, well, you're trying to gain something at the same time you end up losing something else that's more important to you.
Yeah.
You don't
And then you
realize
try
it.
to get that one thing that
Yeah.
you lost and then you lose something else. But
Right. Yeah. That's
yeah,
it. Very true. Very true. Well, I mean, it's good that you at least got your pro card. You got that done, right? Your
I
goal.
know it took me a while to be honest to I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no,
It
you're
took me
fine.
a while to be okay with to like accept the pro card.
Hmm.
Only because like this is what I mean. Like if it disturbs your peace, it's too expensive. Like I got back from Orlando or whatever, and as soon as like I like walked into the door, it was like when I got back home, the first question was like, okay, so you're going back to work, right? And I was just like no congratulations,
Yeah.
like no nothing. I was just like, damn, like I just wanted to have this one happy moment for myself.
Hmm.
Or like to share it with like family. And then I
Right.
went to like visit during Christmas and like back home to El Paso and then like nothing. And so
Hmm.
like it took, like I said, it took me a while. I was just like, damn, like
Not
was this
worth it.
not like a success? Was this not
Right.
a win that I thought was a win? But then on actually I think it was maybe like a week. Wait, yeah. I was just like, you know what? Um, this is my goal, this is my success. And I told my siblings, I was like, and I told my parents too, because my dad finally was like, if this is what you want to do, he's like, then and if it makes you happy, then do it. And I was like, okay. The first time ever I've heard those words.
Mm,
And I was just like, wow. I was
that's a
like,
big
all right,
step.
cool. So it finally helped me accept it, which I know I shouldn't be wanting or needing that, I guess like approval or reassurance
Hmm.
because I'm 28. But it when you have so much like love for like your parents and like you just want to make them proud, like I think that's what I was like trying to like stay stuck on because I was
Yeah.
like, damn, like, are they not proud? They're talking about other successes. Like,
Yeah.
is this not a success? But then, no, like I said, like if it disturbs your peace, it's too expensive. And for me, getting that figure pro card, I was like, what the fuck? I was
Awesome.
able to share that moment with a few friends that like were out there also with me. Two of them competed,
Hmm.
and so like, and then so Ashley Akamowski, I can never say her last name, Akamowski. Hopefully I said that right, Ashley. And her husband Mike were there, and
Hmm.
then their friend Jared Feather, which I had the opportunity to meet him.
Okay.
He was there competing as well, so I was able to share that moment with him at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. I mean, as far as like you being 28 and whether you're 28 or 58 or whatever, it's like your parents are your parents, and you always want like for them to be proud of you or happy for you or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think that's anything, anything to say anything bad about. But do you think it's they just don't understand? What I found is that sometimes, especially a sport like bodybuilding, right? Like a lot of people understand other sports if you're successful at them, but
yeah,
like people have a hard time understanding like the sport of bodybuilding because there's really no money in it, and it's really a sport of passion. And and people just don't understand. They're like, why are you doing it? Like, I don't get it, you know?
Yeah, they most definitely don't understand it. And honestly, I can say that that's probably on my end as to why they don't understand it, because I would get so defensive
Mm,
whenever they would question me about it, or bring up how like, oh, bodybuilding isn't going to make you isn't going to be a career or whatever.
right.
Like, why are you eating this? Like, just eat that. Like, I would really like get defensive, because I hate repeating myself. So I was like, oh
Mm,
my gosh, like I already told you. But like I said, like I think a lot of it had to do with me not communicating
sure.
properly with them. Like, okay,
Sure.
like this is why I have to eat, not like, I guess like I needed to communicate more and kind of have a better way of verbalizing it, or
Yeah.
communicate. What's the word?
No, I mean,
You
the
know
way
what I mean?
you're saying it, yeah, the way you're saying it's fine. Yeah, verbalize, communicate, all those
Yeah,
words.
I like I suck at communicating in the first place.
Hmm.
My mind goes faster than like what I can like speak. So
Hmm.
um, for me, like whenever they would tell me these questions and like I would try to explain it to them, I was kind of getting like how I'm talking right now, kind of
Mm,
mixed up and everything.
yeah.
Um, and so I know it kind of like they lose interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I would still like invite them to competitions. They
Hmm.
wouldn't go, understandable. They don't know the sport, they don't know what to expect, and they work. They have their own life,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I can't be mad at that. But this year, I really, truly do want to be better at communicating and
Hmm.
letting my family know like more in detail about bodybuilding,
Right.
so they can understand as to why I have this certain passion,
Sure. Sure.
why I'm saying like this is within my field of study that I've done. Because after like school for PT didn't like go too well, I literally was like, I'm stupid, I'm dumb as fuck, I can't do this. So I stopped trying to like learn in general, like
Mm,
but I barely got like the spark back. So I think this year I'm gonna be better at like communicating to my family, but also communicating better like for myself
yeah.
and how bodybuilding works.
Well, I mean, I think you've got the right disposition. Definitely. I mean, like even with my family, it's hard because they're like, or in the past, not so much now, but in the past, they'd be like, "Why are you trying to get bigger? I don't understand." But then I have to think about like, my grandmother's idea of a muscular guy, somebody who's like 180 pounds, and it's like that, we have different understandings of like of how someone should look, or what I want to look like, and so forth, so yeah, there's definitely a generational gap. So getting frustrated with people like that it's not helpful. It's not helpful to them. It's not helpful to you,
Yeah,
because there's a missing part that you can't cover. You can't cover for that generational gap, no matter what you do.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know for sure, like, I'm sure we all, like, a lot of females get it, but I think for me, it was kind of like the indirect messages that would get to me about how females should be looking from like
Yeah.
um so even like with my own family, like and friends, like I get indirect messages of like, oh, girls like should be like petite, dress up nice, makeup, hair
Mhm.
done. And then I'm like sitting there with like
Right,
this, like
right,
sweat,
right.
my hair in a bun, all sweaty. And I was like, I'm like, I'm not girly. But
I get it.
and then like just basically seeing like muscle on a female, how you said the generational gap, like
Hmm.
my grandma and my family, like I know like aren't used to it. Um
Imagine if you were in female bodybuilding, what they would think. They would
oh my
they would
gosh.
lose their minds.
They would, yeah, they would shit their pants. They'd be like, Alyssa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And like, they know I'm not natural. My dad like already talked to me about it. He's done some things when he was younger too. I'm
Hmm.
not sure if I was supposed to say that, but whatever.
I mean, it's nobody's regulating this. USADA or no other organizations gonna be coming to your door testing you. So don't worry.
True. And then just watch and like
Yeah,
look. Um, but yeah, so like that generational gap. Do I wish they kind of like understood? Yeah, but at the same time, like I said earlier, it's
yeah,
you just have to be okay and like understand that they learn things differently
right,
and
right.
their traditional mindset is already like locked in where you're
Hmm.
not gonna be able to change it.
Absolutely, they've already learned a large portion, right? Like they've already, like you're only what 28, you said,
Yeah.
and they're they're, I'm assuming they're much older, so they lived a good chunk of their life. Whatever they've learned, they've already, like they've learned it and it's theirs and it's a part of them. So it's going to be tough, tough for them to understand that. But the thing is they don't have to understand it. They just have to kind of accept it. And and that's it. And that's your, that's you, and that's your life. And
What
you're
I'm kind of
good.
glad, or this is how I see it, to be honest. Bodybuilding, I always say it, bodybuilding has saved my life. Like it has truly helped develop me into a better, mindful, and equipped person. Um, am I am I like amazing? No, but it's helping me like learn more. Um, where the heck am
Yeah.
I going with this? Oh, anyways, yes, body. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, what's that thing that Michael Scott says? He's like, I start a sentence and I don't know where it's going, but I just hope it ends. I was like, that's where I was going right now. And I was like, wait, I lost my train of thought.
That,
But no, bodybuilding has helped me for sure because I feel like it sounds corny and weird, but I feel like I'm changing the traditional path and mindset.
yeah.
So I mean like I'm not a big drinker. If I do drink, it's like maybe like one or two shots like for like
Hmm.
celebration, but that's like rarely.
Right.
I'm not a big drinker due to past issues.
Hmm.
Uh I learned that I picked up a lot of terrible habits from my childhood and on. So I feel like bodybuilding has truly helped me break all these like habits. So like my I still have bad, like, I'm still working on it with my bad eating habits, but like, I'm not much of an emotional eater anymore
Right. Right. Right.
or like a heavy
Yeah.
drinker
There's
or
a lot
any.
of I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's a lot of people that say that about athletics in general, but a lot of people I interview are bodybuilders and fitness athletes, and they say those kind of things. It's like it really has helped structure their life and made them feel better, happier. And I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast a while back, and one thing that he was saying was that everybody wants the best for their kids, right? But tough life helps you to become who you are. Like it helps you to be better. So how do you do that? How do you give your children toughness, but at the same time help them to have like a better life than you? Because a good cushy life doesn't you generally create like formidable people. So his answer was like athletics, right? Athletics is like you might have a good life like outside of athletics, but athletics helps you be disciplined. It helps you like overcome challenges. It helps you struggle through things and overcome them. And it's like, and that's what kind of what I hear from people, including myself.
Yeah,
It's like athletics really like helps you to develop yourself.
yeah. So most definitely, like, I feel just in general, my life has for sure changed these past few years due to bodybuilding. Like, just how you said, like, having like a more structured life has helped. And like my money still kind of goes to like random things, but it's not as random as like buying I don't know, like something I don't need. If anything, if
Right.
it's what I need, it's like for the gym because I'm like, okay, like
Sure.
do I really need this new shirt or not? But if it's for the gym, like I know I'm going to be using it a lot. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, it's more of like an investment, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
although I'm not like struck, like how I said, like financially, like there, bodybuilding has still helped me like budget in ways to get me where I need to be and like be okay.
Right. Right. No, that's a good point. And that's a good point. So I think we covered a good amount of stuff. Thank you for the deep conversation. That was
You're welcome.
awesome.
I like deep
Yeah.
conversations. I'm
Yeah.
not really like all how's
Just
your day?
superficial stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm like,
No,
I can have that
definitely.
any day.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I will say, my wife got me some socks. We saw at I forgot what store it was, but and it was like all like the office socks. So I've got like Dwight socks and
Oh
like
my
Michael
gosh.
Scott
I
socks.
have dog paw socks right
That's funny. I can't raise my leg that high, but I would show you
I'm already practicing for my fitness.
there you go.
Just kidding.
You should do that like in your in your routine next time.
I
So.
should, right?
All right. Well, Alyssa, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. You have a good rest of the day, okay?
Thank you. It was nice to
Okay.
meet you
You
and be
too.
on here.
Bye bye.
Bye.